Good evening, guys. Oh yeah, Okoyemi, you have a question. Your hand is raised. Okay, good evening, guys. And Okoyemi, if you don't have if you don't have a question, maybe you can put down your hand. All right. So good evening. Thanks for coming. We'll be learning about React today. So let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. So if you have any questions, right, you can always interrupt me and ask your question. You can just interrupt me and ask your question. Can you see my screen? Can you see this slide?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, nice. Latson, there might be some questions in the group. Maybe people are asking for a link or whatever. Please attend to them. I will not be able to be attending to the group and be on the lesson at the same time. So thanks. Yeah, since you guys can hear me. So as I was saying, if you have any questions, just ask. Like you can interrupt me at any time. Right. So yeah. So today we'll be learning about we'll be doing an introduction to React and Nextjs. Right. You must have heard about React before. So today we're going to demystify everything about React to show you how it is different from normal HTML, CSS, and JS normal pages built with HTML, CSS, and web and JS, right, and just normal JS, right. So my name is Nosi Febo, and this is week 5 of the Web3 program. So let's dive in. Yeah. So we'll be starting with React. So what the F is React? What is JSX? Then we'll move on to components and composition. Then passing data between components, interactive components, React hooks, create React app, and lastly we'll touch Nest.js. Alright, so yeah, so we should do this in less than 1 hour 30 minutes. So I'm going to make it as interesting and also as fast as possible. But if you have any question, don't fail to ask. I'm ready to answer. If you notice that there's anything that you feel somehow you don't understand, you just ask. Right. So yeah. If there's any question in the chat, please tell me about it. Yeah. So let's dive in. So what the F is React? Right? We should know that there are 3 main frameworks. Right. There's React, there's Angular, and there's Vue. Right. But you must have heard of it somewhere. I don't know, but you should have heard of React, Angular, and Vue. But the most popular of them is React. So React changes the way we think about our web applications. Basically, this fundamentally changes the way we show objects on the screen and how we update it. So let's leave all this grammar and let's dive into the code aspect. So now this is a simple directory that has the HTML file, JS file, and a CSS file. This is what we're used to. Right? This is what we're used to. Everyone here should be used to this sort of stuff. So this is what we're used to. This kind of simple page. This sort of simple page is what we're used to. So it just has all this, and when we display it, it shows this. Right? It shows this as a display. So this is what we're used to. So this is the index.html file, and this is what is displayed. Now, in order for us to show something here, what happens is we take our HTML file, we put in HTML tags, HTML elements inside the HTML file. Then we link this CSS file to our HTML file using this link tag. Then we also link the JS file to our HTML file using this JS tag. This is what we do normally. This is the way a simple web page is normally. But React changes this whole process. This is not how it is done in React. So the React has changed everything, right? It has changed everything. So yeah, we'll have to expand this. So React has changed the way we think about our applications. Right, it has changed the way we think about our application, and this has fundamentally changed the way we show objects on the screen and how we update them. That's supposed to be them. It's not supposed to be it, right? So yeah, so this is it. So this where is the okay, let me open the web page somewhere else. Sorry. Okay, let's have the web page open here. Oh yeah. So this is the web page. Yeah. So React has changed. If you look at it now, we have shopping list here. We have apples, bananas, and grapes in our shopping list, and there's a button here too. So what we're saying now is that React has, each of these can be said to be a component. Like this can be a component, and this group here can be said to be a component. So React has changed the way we display this component, and it has changed the way we update it. Right. So let's say I click this place now, and I want that if I click here, these apples should go. React has changed the way we update it. Normally, if you are familiar with Web2, the way you do it is that you create from your JS file, from your JS file here, you interact with it. You can use a document or query selector to target this list. Then you use JS to remove apples from this list. Right? That's how you do it normally with with normal JS or normal vanilla JavaScript. But with React, everything has changed. So it has changed the way we display this, and it has changed the way we are going to update whatever is here. So let's move on. So just think about it. Basically, it has changed the way we show objects, and it has changed the way we are going to update it. So moving ahead. So what is JSX? Right? So React has this particular concept called JSX. So JSX is it's a function, right? It's a function that combines JavaScript and HTML to produce what we call JSX. React combines JavaScript and HTML to produce what we call JSX, right? It's basically a JavaScript function. There's nothing bigger than that. So JSX is basically a JavaScript function that returns HTML instead of regular JavaScript stuff like numbers, objects, and strings. So normally, if you were to write a function now, like if you look at this function now, let's say I wrote a function web3, right? Normally, if I'm doing anything, I'm going to return a string. Let's say I'm going to return a string. Let's say nonce. So right, so this is a function that returns this string. But with React now, instead of returning a string, it's going to return HTML, right? This function here is going to return HTML, and it can be like this. I can take this list here, copy it, come and paste it here, something like this. So instead of returning a string, number, or object, it returns HTML, right? So that is how JSX in React works. Now let's look at JSX. Let's look at an example of JSX in React. So this is a React application. And I'm going to show you how to create a React application at the ending of the course, but we can dive into that later at the end of the course. But I'm going to explain to you how the JSX I was telling you about, how it actually works in React. So these are our main file in React, which is called index.js. It's like your index.html, right? So like we earlier mentioned, React mixes HTML and a function together. So the function will return the HTML, right? So this app is a function. Basically, this is a function, and it's returning HTML here. As you can see here, it's returning HTML. Now to run this app is already running on my localhost 3000. It's already running on my localhost 3000. So to access it, I already have it up here. Okay, I'll have to change this. So this is my React app. It's already running here on my localhost 3000. Now, like I said before, JSX is a combination of function and HTML. Now I'm going to return the HTML that we had in our normal web page. I'm going to return this HTML. So I'm going to copy this shopping list. I'm going to copy it, the H1 and the list. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here. Right, I'm going to paste it in here. Right, so after pasting it, you will notice something now. So this is it. After pasting it, this is what we get. So this is our React app, and this is what we have with our normal JS, our normal vanilla JS web page. This is what we had, but with our React app, this is what we have. Basically, there is no difference. What happened there was that this function returned HTML for us, unlike what we had before, where we had to paste the HTML document directly inside index.html, right? So what React does for us is that React takes this our HTML that we're returning, it will take it and help us paste it in an index.html file, right? It will help us paste it in an index.html file. So it will abstract the whole process for us and do it, right? So this is a JSX component, right? And it's a function that returns HTML instead of returning normal string, numbers, or objects. So that's what JSX is basically. So moving on, so let's talk about components and composition. So the power of React is being able to arrange objects in your web page into components. So each component acts on its own and can be combined to form other components. So the process of combining many components together is called composition, right? So basically, this is a component. This right here is a component. Like I said, I returned this HTML here, right? Which is and so this makes it a JSX. So it's a JSX because it's a function, right? So this is a function that returns HTML. Now it's also called a component, right? It's also called a component, and the process of combining many components together is called composition in React. So let me show you an example of a component. Let me show you this. Okay. So basically, we're using this. Oh, this is screen bar. Sorry. Let me go to Learn Web3 DAO. So Learn Web3 DAO is the resource we're using to teach the Web3 class. Can you guys hear me? Just to be sure. So Learn Web3 DAO is the resource we're using to teach the Web3 class.
Yes, I can, sir.
Alright, nice. So Learn Web3 DAO is the resource we're using to teach. So I'm going into the intro to React.js intro to React and Nextjs section, and I want to copy an element. Sorry, I want to copy a component. So let me look for a component here. Yeah, so these are components. Sorry, these are basically HTML elements. So I'll copy them. I want to show you why a component is useful. So I'll copy them and paste them in here. I'll paste them in here. Alright, I'll paste them here. Now, so these are components. So if I come to my React app, so this is what I have. Let's change this so as to give us a correct image. So let me come here. They should have a link to a good image down here. I'm coming. Let's see. If you see any link, just tell me. Image underscore. Okay. I think I remember seeing it. I remember seeing a link here. I think yeah. So this is the link. So I'll just copy this link and come and paste it here. So to select multiple, so this is VS Code basically. If I want to select multiple text that are like this, I'll use Ctrl D to select all of them. Then I'll just paste the image there. So if I come to my React app now,
Ctrl what, please?
Ctrl D. You use Ctrl D to select like multiple text that are the same. Alright, use Ctrl D. So after pasting it there, you see I have this, right? Each of them is an element, right? So this is an element on its own. This is an element. This is an element, and this is an element. So the JSX returned this HTML for us, and it is that HTML that is returned that is being displayed here. Right? It's that HTML that is returned that is being displayed here. So now let's talk about components. So with components, I can reduce everything that is here. I can reduce everything that is here into one single stuff. So with the component, I'll just take this. To make it a component, I'll take this. So was that a hand? Did someone raise his hand or?
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay, so I'm going to create on that JSX component. So I remember a JSX component is a function that returns HTML, and I've already copied HTML from here. So I'll just return. Sorry, meant to be here. So here I'll just return that HTML I copied. I'll return it here and come here. And remember I said this is a JSX component. So with React now, I'm able to do this. I'm able to copy. I'm able to take this card component here. I'm able to take it and write it in here. So I can write it as card 1. I write it as card again. I write it as card again. If you are familiar with HTML, you know this looks like HTML, right? It looks like HTML, but it's JSX. So JSX, this component here, I can write it like a HTML element because of React. So React has introduced JSX to us, which combines a function and HTML, right? The function will return HTML. Now this is a function that returns HTML, which is a component. Now this component, I can now take it and write it just like a normal HTML element inside this other app component. So I'm taking the card component and I'm putting it inside the app component. So this card component now, I've duplicated it, right? It's in 3 places now, right? It's in 3 places. So if I come to my code, you see the card that I copied is in 3 places now. Let me reload this so so it's 3 places now. So this is the first card, the second card, and the third card, but they are all the same. There's no difference, right? Because it's the same card. So this so basically this is composition, right? This is composition, and because of React, I've been able to collect this card and put it in. I've been able to put it in 3 places. Now, normally with normal HTML, you know that you can't just create a HTML element like this and come and put it directly inside your HTML document. If you have to like copy this and paste it here, and paste it here again. Like doing that alone is cumbersome. That's like a waste of time, right? But with React, I already have everything. I'll just create the component here and duplicate it in here. 1, 2, 3, right? So that's the power React gives me. So that's the usability of components, right? So with this component,
the space you added between, the space you added between the slash, like, is it very important?
Yeah. It's important. You have to put it there. But I can do it like this. I can also do it like this. I can also write it like this. It's the same thing. The web page is still the same, right? So it's the same thing. I can write it both ways. I can write it in one way. You write your HTML elements, and I can write it like this. So it's still the same thing. So I've created this element here, this component here, and I'm writing it like a normal HTML element, right? So yeah. Oh, sorry, you were asking of the space. I was thinking you were talking of the I was thinking you were talking about the forward slash. No, the space is not important. The space is not important. I can remove the space. Sorry for that. I can remove the space. It's still the same component here. So yeah, the space is not important. It can be skipped. So you can use these like, you can write the component like this, or you can write it like this, right? So yeah, so that's it about components and composition. So with this component, I can put it inside this other. I can put the card component inside the app component, right? So that's called composition. Composing this app component of card components, and like they are becoming part of the app components. So the card components, I'm taking them and putting them inside the app component. So they form the new app component. So they are the parts of the app component basically. So that's just it. So that's composition. So the app component is composed of card components. So that means I can combine different components to create a new component basically. Now if you look at a web page, like if you look at a simple web page, like let's say this one is to, let's say, okay, let's just look at Google for instance. Okay, so basically if you look at Google now, if you look at this whole web page, this can be a component. This search bar can be a component. Everything here can be a component on its own. Everything here can be a component on its own, right? So what happens is, in a single web page, they'll just take each component and start putting them inside the web page. and you can duplicate them. So this component here, right, can be the same as this component here. I'm going to show you how to change data information in a particular component, so that a particular component is going to display a different data, right? This particular component does not necessarily have to display the same data as that same component in another place. I'm going to do that with the card component. But what I'm trying to say basically here is that each of the objects here, this image, this search bar, this section here, can be different components, and each section can be made up of separate components again. If I get the search bar, I can decide that this one is going to be a different component, this one is going to be a different component, and this one is going to be a different component. And that gives me the power of reusability, meaning that since this is a component, I can also take it from here and put it inside here. I can take it from here and put it inside here, basically. But with normal HTML, CSS, JS knowledge, that is using vanilla JS, we call that normal way of building websites, where you just where you link your HTML, your JS page, your JS and your CSS files to your HTML document. That whole process, we call it vanilla JS, right? We call it vanilla JS because you are using pure JavaScript to build your app. But with React is a huge chunk of it's like what happens with React is that everything has been abstracted for us. It's been done underground. What you do with your normal vanilla JS, where you do document or query selector to access the DOM, right? The document object model. This basically a DOM. What you do in your normal vanilla JS to access the DOM is being done in React underground. So everything is abstracted away for us, which gives us the power of being able to use components and composition, right? So yeah, so it gives us the power of usability. So if we go forward, we're going to talk about passing data between components, right? So the main use of having components is being able to write code that is reusable, right? I've already shown you how code is reusable. Like the card component, I was able to put it in multiple places, right? So it makes the card component reusable. I can use it in other places too, right? It's not just that app component. So it's reusable and can within it contain different information, right, without rewriting the entire code again. So leave all these ones. What they are trying to say basically is that you see each of this is a card component. This is a card component. This is a card component. This is a card component, right? The three of them are card components. But if you notice, Alice is here, front-end developer. Alice is here too, front-end developer. Alice is here too, front-end developer. It's possible that I want to use the same card component, but I want to display different information. I want the first card to be Alice, the second card to be Bob, the third card to be whatever name, right? So I'm going to do that now, such that, so like I explained before, the component is going to be the same component, but the information contained within that component is going to be different, right? So let's do that. So with this card now, like we already established, like the component is basically a function. So this is a component, is a function that returns HTML. That's basically what a component is, a function that returns HTML. Now this component is a function, meaning it can take arguments, right? And if this function is going to take arguments, what arguments do you think it will take for us to display different information here? This is a name and this is a job or occupation. So what argument do you think this function should take so that we're able to change Alice here and we're able to change front-end developer here? So what can I call this? What can I call the arguments? Any ideas? Hello, does anybody have an idea? Like I want to take in an argument.
You can just say label.
Label, okay, label for this name here, right?
Yeah.
What about this one? Do you have any idea for this one? Like what? No, it's two arguments. Occupation.
Maybe caption or occupation. Yeah.
Okay. Let's use job. Let's use job. Job makes sense. So let's call this label and let's use job for this one. Okay. So that means we are going to take in arguments. So the first argument is going to be label, and the second one is going to be job, right? So for in React, when you are passing in arguments to the components, you put them inside an object, right? So they are called props basically. So arguments that are passed to JSS components, right, are called props. They're called props, and the first prop is label, the second prop is job. So if I come down here, I'll use a curly brace and write label. I'll use under curly brace here again and write job. Right. So the reason why I'm using a curly brace is that's how JSX is. If you are familiar with string literals, if you are familiar with string in vanilla JavaScript, you know that you can write a string like this. You can write a string like this. So I can write in string template literals. I can write it like this. I can write a string like let's say Bonnie. I can write a string like this, Bonnie. But I can also put a variable inside that string. So let's say the string is variable A is equals to boy. Boy is equals to boy. Boy is a string also. Let's say variable A is equals to boy and boy is a string. So I can write this variable inside here like this. A. You get what I'm saying? Are you guys familiar with this concept? This string concept in JavaScript?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I wanted to even say that the label and the job was not a string like the quotes.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. So it's an argument. In function, since it's an argument, it's the person that it's the part of the code that is calling the function that has to pass string. You get what I'm saying? So if I say a function like this now, function A, then I decide to take in an argument here, then I now say console.log C. It's the person that is going to call A. Sorry. It's the person that is going to call A that has to pass in the string as let's say boy. Should you get what I'm saying? Do you get that? So it's the person that calls A that has to pass in the string. Yeah. So that means the person has to pass in the string in order for us to print out a string here. So yeah. So C is just an argument. The same way label and job are arguments here. It's whoever that calls card, which is going to be the app component. Whoever calls the card component has to pass in label and job. Right? He has to pass in label and job. So that means since we are using card here, we have to pass in label and we have to pass in job. So that means that this is how you pass arguments to components now. This is how you pass arguments. Alright, label equals can someone give us a label? I need labels. You can just unmute and give me a label like what like a label. In this case, a label is a name, someone's name, anybody's name. I need names.
Ade,
okay, makes sense. Ade. So let's say Ade is a bricklayer. Okay. Ade is not a bricklayer normally. I'm just that this is just an example. So any other you can, when you give a name, also give an occupation you fancy. Give us a good occupation. Maybe software developer or something. That makes more sense. So I need two more. Name and job. I need two more guys.
Number 2, Sheriff, blockchain developer.
Hey, boss. Blockchain developer. So this has to be. So sorry, I'm making a mistake. This has to be in string. Like he said that. Like I said that time, when you're passing the argument, it has to be string. Alright, so this has to be string. See the red I'm getting all over. So this has to be string. I made a mistake there. Yeah, so it has to be string. So this is how you pass arguments to components in React. Right. So someone else give us a name and a job. One more. I need one more.
Well.
Any name? No names. Okay, let me see. Let's see.
Yeah, use Noel.
What did you say?
Noel.
What job? What's your job?
I'm a student.
Okay. So let's look at that. Let's look at what we have. So basically, this is Adi, is a bricklayer. Sherif is a blockchain developer, and Noel is a student, right? So all of them are the same components. Like basically, are the same components, but I've been able to pass in arguments to define that okay, this component, right, should display Ade here, it should display Sheriff here, and it should display Noel here. So this gives me the usability such that I can now decide that okay, when this component is here, I want it to display this kind of information. When this component is here, I want it to display this kind of information. And if you are familiar with, it's just like Twitter. You know Twitter now. Let me give. I'll be opening my Twitter account. But let's see. Let me see. Let's see. If you look at Twitter, for instance, now. Yeah. So if you see this, you see this. This is basically a component. This is a component. This is a component. This is a component. So in these components, they've said that the name should be Gary Goodrich, and the tweet or the text should be this. The name here should be this, and the text should be this. So the components give you usability. So with the components, I'm able to create 1,000 components. Right, I can create 1,000 components. Like who cares? Unlike if it was normal HTML now, with normal HTML, I will have to be copying and pasting components. Like how is that possible? Right, and even if I don't copy and paste the components, I will have to be using JS, right, to kind of manipulate it so that I'll be able to create multiple components. But with React, it has given you the ability to be able to reuse your components and make sure that the components can display different data, right? So it's just like this: different name, different tweets, different name, different tweets, different name, different tweets, and the components can also contain an image. So things like that, right? So this is the power React gives us. Right? Do you guys get that? So I'm able to pass data.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so I'm able to pass data inside the component, which helps me to determine that okay, this component should display different data, that component should display different data. And let me not lie, I picked this up from Learn Web3 DAO, this whole text here. So I do not say, maybe do not come and arrest me that I stole their text. So this is from Learn Web3 DAO, and if you check out Learn Web3 DAO, they have cool resources for Web3, for learning Web3. Yeah. So that's it about passing data between components. Okay, 6:38. We still have some time. Yeah. So interactive components, right? We have talked about components and all, but enough for us to make them interactive. We also make our components interactive basically. So JSX allows us to easily combine functions with our HTML elements and make them interactive. It's as simple as attaching a function to the HTML element. So when I talk about something being interactive, not me. Generally, when you talk about something being interactive, it means that when you perform an action, it should react basically. So if I press a button, it should do something. So that means it's interactive. So now let's use a button. Let me let me just comment this out, and let's do something else here. So this is a button. Let's use a button here. So this is a button, right? This is a button, and in the button I want a particular text. Let's just say click me, right? That should be the text there. So watch now. Normally, right? Normally, if you have a button, because I know if you have, these are our normal vanilla JS web page. This is the normal JS that everybody uses, this normal JS web page. So this button now is click me. In order for this button to work, right? I will have to go to my JS file, target this button with the document the query selector button, right? Then add an event listener, click, and I'll assign to that event listener a function called log. This is how it works normally. So this means that in our file now, you see this file now, in our file now, let me go to the console. So this is the console. So this is the normal vanilla JS web page. It means that if I click on click me, it prints out click me here. Can you guys see that? Can you see this? Is it too small? Can I zoom in? I'm not sure I can zoom in.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. So if I click on click me, it shows click me in the console. You can see that, right? So that is how it works normally in vanilla JS. But when we come to React, it makes it easy for us, right? You don't have to do all these shenanigans where you have to go and get a component, where you have to select the element through query selector or through get element by ID, right? Or using normal vanilla JS. You don't have to do all this. So the issue with this is that, imagine you have 10 buttons on the screen. That means you have to do this 10 times. This document your query selector, you have to do it 10 times, and you have to assign a function 10 times. So when it's becoming complex, everything gets cumbersome and messy, right? So React has helped us to avoid all this. So let's go into React and see how we can make this button also show click me in the console. So I've already added the button here. I've already added the button here. So what happens now is that I'll come here and I'll also create a function. I haven't copied that function here. I can copy the function here. I'll just copy this function. Copy this function. Sorry. Wait did I do? So I'll copy this function, paste it here. Right? I'll paste that function there. Now this is it. It's log. Right? So in order for me to relate this function with this button, I'll come to this button, and this button, this button has something called an attribute, right? Normal HTML, you know they have attributes now. It's like this. If you look at this HTML file here, these elements have attributes. Like this is the class attribute of the div element, of the div tag. This is the class attribute. This is the source attribute of the script tag. This is the lang attribute of HTML tag. So in the same way, the HTML here also has attributes, right? It also has attributes. So this attribute now, for this attribute, in order for me to attach this log to this button now, I'll use an attribute called click. So I'll just assign it directly, log, finish. That's just it. So if I go to my React app now, so let's leave, we have upgraded, we're now going to our React app. So this is clicking, this is the click me button. Let me center it so that it will be more visible. So this is the click me button. Let's center it. So in React too, this is the CSS file. In React, I don't have to link it directly. This is the CSS file here. I'll just have to come here and import it. I'll import the CSS file directly inside the file that contains my component. It will just attach itself directly to that component. So all I have to do is import it. I don't have to like create a source, a link tag that will link that CSS to my component. So I'll just import it directly and to work. So in this place now, I want to center that stuff. I'll just say text align center, right? And it's going to work immediately. So our button is centered. As simple as that, our button is centered. Yeah, so if I already attached the log function, I already attached it to the button. So if I select click me, it logs click me here directly. So you guys, it seems I was kicked out for some time. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
So where did I stop? Sorry. Where did I stop? Does anybody know?
I'm trying to like add an attribute to the click button. Sorry, to the click button here.
Oh! Wow! Sorry about that. All right. So where is the click button? Okay. Yes. So this is. I'm sorry. So this is the button. All right. This is the button. So this is the button, and we are attaching this function to the onClick attribute of that button. Normally, when you want to do it, you will say document or query selector add event is now click. Right here now, it's going to be the onClick attribute of the button. So the onClick attribute of the button means that anytime we click on this button, it's going to call this log. So when it calls this log, it will log click me in the console. Can you guys hear me? Did you get that?
Yes, I can, sir.
Sorry, someone was saying something.
I say yes, I can, sir.
Okay, yeah, I heard you. Like I thought someone was speaking when you were speaking. I know I heard your voice. Anyway, It's fine. Thanks for that. So that's click me, right? So anytime log is called, anytime this is clicked, it calls log, and log runs this console.log click me. So that means that if I come here, so these are our reacts. Let me reload this. So these are our web page. So if I click on click me, the click me button, it logs click me on the console. If I click on it again, it logs it. So you get. So that's how simple and easy it is with React. You just take the function. So we take the function and we just attach it directly to the attributes, right? So that's it's as simple as that. There's nothing that difficult about that. So this is the power React gives us. Instead of us doing document or query selector this, document or query selector that, you just take the function and put it there directly. Right? Do you guys get that? Is there any question about that whole process?
None for now from here, sir.
None for now. Did you say none for now? I didn't get you.
I said no questions for now from my side.
Alright, fine, it's fine. So that's what makes the so that's it for interactive components. So I've made the button interactive by putting a function here and attaching it directly to the HTML to the HTML element. Now it's because I already established JSX is a combination of input of JavaScript and HTML, and a JSX component is a function that returns HTML. Now since it's a function, it therefore means that I can do what other JavaScript stuff inside this function, which I have done now. I've been able to create a function inside this function, and I'm calling that same function inside here. So you get it. So that's basically, so because of that power that JSX has given us, that is why I'm able to do this. I'm able to create this function inside here and attach it directly to the button element. So yeah, let's moving on. Let's move on to React hooks. So React hooks now. I want to show you something. Let me show you something. Let's say this on click. Let's make it increment. So this, what happens here is that between, normally now in HTML, the text between the tags is the text that will appear on the screen, right? So the text here, where is it? The text between the tag, this is the button. The text here is what will appear as on the screen, right? So this is it. This is what appears here. Click me. So it's the same thing that is here. You know, I changed the text in between the two tags to increment. I changed it to increment. So that is why it's incremented that is here. So if I come back here and it's increment that is here now, I want to show you something. I want to show you why we need React hooks before I explain what React hooks are. So let's change this to increment. Right? Let's change this to increment. Let's say const number. Right? Const number. Okay, let's just say const age. Const age is equals to 0. Right? The age is 0. So I'll just come here and I'll log age. I want to show you something. I'll log age, but also I'll say age is equals to age plus 1. Right? And I'll update this to increment now. Like we said before, I have to attach the function. Since I've changed the function to increment, I'll have to put it here as increment. So what do you think will happen here? Does anybody have an idea? What is supposed to happen here normally? When I click on this button, what's supposed to happen here?
The age will be 1, and the next one will be 2, and the next one will be 3.
Right. That is what is supposed to happen normally. Right. Sorry. Let me put a div around this thing. That is what is supposed to happen normally. But I'm going to show you something really fascinating now. I'm going to show you something fascinating. Now this is the age is 0, right? It's supposed to appear there as 0. Let me. Okay, no need. I want to make sure that they are on top of each other. Let me just use a break line tag. Is it break line tag they call it? I haven't forgotten the name. Alright, so yeah, so this is the age, right? It's 0. So it means that, like you said before, it means that when I click the button, the age is supposed to increase. It's supposed to increase. So, but if I come here now, just watch. Let me cancel these errors. So just watch now. You notice something. Oh, sorry. Age is read only. This is supposed to be let. I hope you're familiar with let and const in JS. Are you guys familiar with let and const? Let
Yes,
and
I
const.
am.
Yeah. Makes sense. So, if anybody has any question, if I'm asking a question you don't understand, even if someone says he understands it, speak up. I'll attend to you too. She gets. So it's supposed to be let there, so as I was able to change the value. If it's a const, it means a constant value, and I can't change it. I can't change the variable. It means the constant. It's no longer a variable. Really a constant entity, and I can't change it. So if I click on increment, when I click on increment, watch. It's still 0. Nothing happened, but it logged 1 here, meaning age changed. Shall you get? It means age changed, but the web page didn't update age. If I log it, if I press increment again, age changed to 2. Like for real, we're logging it here. Age changed to 2, but for some reason, the web page is still displaying 0 here. Shall you get? So it just goes on like that. So this is where hooks come in. Basically, what is happening here is that it's working, right? I'm doing the right thing actually. But the issue is that we really established that React helps us to abstract a lot of things, right? So the issue now is that React does not know that age has changed. It's supposed to know that age has changed so that it will redisplay age again. It will redisplay the new value of age, right? It will display the age variable, which will not take the new value. To React, nothing has changed, which makes it still think that 0 is still what is supposed to be there. So in order for us to tell React that okay, I've done something, and you need to update what you are showing to the user, or what you are showing on the web page or on the screen. That is where we need hooks. So I'm going to show you how to use hooks to solve all these shenanigans that are happening here, right? To solve all this stuff. So do you guys get that? You get that?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Alright, makes sense. So that's it. Let's move on to hooks. So hooks, what are hooks basically? Hooks are functions. You have to establish that they are functions. They are basically JS functions. They are functions. So React hooks are functions that hook into different parts of the React component, right? They hook into different parts of the React component, allowing you to do things like updating the view when a variable's value is changed, which is exactly, so it allows us to update the view when the variable's value has changed, which is exactly the issue we're facing here now. The variable's value has changed, but React is not updating the view. React still thinks that it is the old variable. So we're going to solve that issue here now by updating that view, right? So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to use the hook to update the view. So, or running some JS code automatically every time the page is loaded or a variable is changed, and many more cool things, right? So this text, I also took it from Learn Web3 DAO. That's why there's Learn Web3 DAO here. And like I said before, you should check out Learn Web3 DAO. They have good, cool resources for learning Web3, right? So yeah, so that's it about React hooks. So React hooks will allow us to be able to they will allow us to be able to tell React that okay, I've made a change here, update what is being shown on the screen to the new value, right? So I'm going to the React has different hooks, right? And the most popular of them is use state, right? There's the use. Each hooks in React start with use. They start with use, and so there are different hooks in React, but each of them starts with use. So use states is one of them. Use ref is on that one. Use effects is on that one. There's use memo. There's use callback. So basically all these things are hooks. They are hooks, and they are functions, like we established before. They are functions. You should, like, don't disturb your head much about it. It's a function. So there are functions that allow us to tell React different things. This use state now allows me to tell React that, okay, update your state, and this is what we're going to use to be able to tell React that, okay, the age value has changed. Update what is being shown on the screen or what is being displayed on the web page, right? So these are the different hooks in React. They are used for different purposes, and like we said before, the hook you take note of this hook. They hook into different parts of the React component, allowing you to do things like updating the view when a variable value is changed, right? Now, the use state hook allows us to hook to the state. It hooks to the state and allows us to tell React that, okay, update the state when this value has changed, right? So that's what it does. So now let's solve that issue we were having using use state. So now I'll come here. I won't say let age anymore, so I'm going to do it like this. Use state. This may look confusing. If you have any issue, just speak up. So this is use state, and let me remove this first. So I'll say const. This is how you use the use state hook in React. There are different ways of using different hooks, but for the use state hook, that allows us to tell React that, okay, update your view because this variable's value has changed. This is how it is used. So what follows this? So we are assigning an array to the use state hook. So what follows is the value, which is the variable age, followed by set age, right? So this is a function and this is a value. All right, is that a hand?
Yes, it is. Like I can't really see the bracket array. Like, is that a square bracket?
Yeah, it's a square bracket. Sorry. Let's see. I hope this is the right. Okay, yeah, that's it. Can you see it now? Does it look better?
If I can now, thank you.
Yeah. So this is age and this is set age. It's a square bracket. So we're assigning this. This is an array. We're assigning an array to the use state hook. The use state hook returns a value and it returns a function. The thing is, when we call this function, any value we pass to this function will become the new value of age. So when we call this function and we pass in the value, we're telling React that, okay, since I've called this function with this new value, this is the new value. That is going to be the new value of this variable, right? So if I call set age and passing a value and passing an age, it becomes the new age meaning that this age value is going to change to the value I'm going to pass in to the function called set age, right? So it becomes the new age, and I'm able to access that age here as the first variable. I'm able to access it as the first variable, right? So this is age, and if you remember, we did it like this earlier. I should have just commented it, but we did it like this earlier. Remember that we wrote let age equals 0. So this was the initial value. Like when you are your age now, you start from 0 years. When you start having your days, months, like that, before you reach a certain year and like that. So that's it. So meaning that this is the default value of the age. So for the use state hook, I can pass in a default value 0. Right? I can pass in a default value 0. Now that is going to be the default value. Now that default value means that anytime I access age, is going to be 0. So it means that the age here is going to be 0. So what issue am I having here? Sorry. I wonder whether there's an issue. There seems to be an
error. So you wrote const age. Like, I think the age will be changeable.
Yeah, like, okay, yes. With React, right? With React, how will I say it now? The way everything works, right, in React is that when I call set age, right, it's going to change the value of age, but it can be a const. The reason why it can be a const is that it's the way it acts now is that it's as if when I call set age, it's going to recall the app function. It's like when I call set age, it does something like recalling the app function, right? React recalls the app function, and when it recalls the app function, it gets here and says const age set age. Now since I've called set age with, let's say I called set age with 1, use state now returns 1 here. This means that this limits me in the sense that I cannot come here and say age is equals to 1. This is going to be an error, right? This in itself is going to be an error because this is a const value, right? It's going to be an error because it's a const value. From my end, I can't reassign age again because it's a const, right? I can't reassign it again because it's a const. But for this use state, it's a function that is returning a value, and the function can return any value it wants anytime it's called. The only thing is that immediately age is assigned to a value, I can't change it again. So that is why it's a const here. And I can also use let actually, although I don't know if there's a limitation for me to using let. I can also use let, but most people mostly use const, at least not to limit them from touching age value, because only the set age function is supposed to be able to have access to the age value, right? So that's it. So I think I can, let me remove this. Let's see, maybe this, okay, I think this should be the issues. Yeah, so that was so I by mistake imported something. That was what was causing the error here. So yeah, I can have it as const here because use state is the one that is called to reassign it. But the limitation I have is that I can't reassign age again to a different value, but I can call set age so that it will reassign age. So if I come down here, I set the initial value as 0, so it means that if I come here, is 0, right? If I can change it to 10, so it means that the initial value of age is going to be 10. So that's 10, right? So that's the default, let's say you can call it initial value or default value, right? So that's basically it. Now, okay, let's start from 0. Now remember with our increment function, when we clicked on increment, nothing like when we clicked on increment. Oh, sorry. sorry about that. This reassign age. Remember I said I use const here, right? So I can't reassign age. If I had used let, for instance, I think I will not have an error, right? I will not have an error, but I used const there. So you have to use const in order to prevent you from making such mistakes here, so that here now I'm saying age equals age plus 1, but the truth is that even if I say age equals age plus 1 here, it's not going to affect this age value. It's not going to change anything because it's not communicating with React that okay, age has changed, let me update it. So like I said before, in order for me to tell React that okay, age has changed, I have to call set age. So what happens here now is that I'm going to say set age to age plus 1, right? I'm going to say set age to age plus 1, and I'll remove this const here. Let me remove this const here. So let me remove this console.log here. So I'll just say set age equals set age to, I'll just say set age, I would set age to age plus 1, right? So if I come here now, and I reload, alright, so when I click on increment, you see change to 1, change to 2, change to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. You get that? Do you guys get that? So that's the power of React hooks. That is what it gives us. It allows us to communicate with React. Did you get that?
Yes, I do so.
Okay. Does anybody not get it? Is anybody that has doubts? If you have anything.
I have a question.
All
so
right.
that means that if you're going to use any React hook, you have to import it first.
Yes, exactly. Yes, like this. I have to import it first. In fact, if you're using any function that is not defined here, you have to import it. It's like, let me show you something. I can say card.js, right? And take this card. I'll take this card. Paste it here. Right? So I have to export it first. So if I want to use card here, I have to import it first, or else I won't be able to use it. So let's say I don't import it. Let's say for instance I don't import it. And I now say let's say I'm forming like I know everything. I don't import card. Let's just watch the errors. Do you see that? The error here is that card is not defined. does not know that card is existing. But if I come here and I import it, I definitely have to import it. So I'll just say import card from card, basically. So that's it. So when I come here, there's a card here. You get what I'm saying? So you definitely have to import it, right? You have to import it. So yeah, so if you are trying to access a function, if you are trying to access a function, right? If you are trying to access a function that is not defined, that is not defined in your file, you have to import it. So the same one, I wanted to access card and I did not import it, right? So the same thing if you want to access any hook or any other thing, as far as you are setting a function, like we said, a hook is a function. Is a function because look at it here. We said use state and we called the use state function. We called the use state hook and passed in a default value. Alright, so in order for me to access use state, I have to import it. Yeah, is there any other thing? Does anybody have a question before we move on? Well, are we all
Sorry,
good?
I want to ask that can we edit Abi? Can we define Abi? Hey, voila.
Anyhow,
Can we edit them on CSS? Like through the attributes and all that we assign to them, yeah.
can we edit them on CSS? I don't get your question. Can you repeat?
For instance, now the attribute we give to the card now, can we locate it? Abi, can we locate it on the CSS and try to style it?
Yeah. It's this class container, right? This is class container. Yeah, you can actually. You can. I'll just come here and say dot container. But actually, it has to be class name, not class. It's class. In React, we don't say class, we say class name. Class name equals container. You have to take note of that. Class name equals container. And come here and style it. You just say styles.css, don't container. I can say background. Background color will be red. I think I still have card here. Okay. So if I come here. Oh, sorry, I did not import card again. So if I come here, invalid DOM property class, did you mean class name? Where I assign class? Oh, sorry, this should be class name. Okay, so let's say this is container and this is let me remove let me remove this. I think the picture is blocking this stuff. This is container. Oh, let's make this card, not container. Let's make this card. So I'll come to app.js, card.js. So can you put off your mic? Hello? Can you put off your mic? Yeah. Alright, thanks. So this is card. This is the card now, and this is CSS. We set the CSS to red, right? We set the background color using CSS to red. So yes, you can use CSS to change the styling, right? You also use CSS in React. So that's that. So that's that about that. I think we're good here. So let's move on. Let's move on from React hooks. Let's see which other stuff do we have on our agenda. Okay. Basically now I've given you like the overview of React, right? I've given you the overview of React. So it means that when you encounter React again, you should know that it has components. You should know that React changes the way we think about how objects show and how they are updated. So you should now know that it uses JSX, which is a function that returns HTML, right? Then you should also know that it's made up of components, like we already established. If you think about that Twitter stuff is a very, very, very good example, right? So each of them is a component, and you can combine components together to form other components. That process of combining components together to form a component is called composition, right? So React gives us that power. Then you can pass data between components. Now passing data between components means that the component can display different information, right? In this place I can say you should display this. In this other place you can display this, right? And I can also I can change, that means I can change the information in different places, right? And since it's a function, it means that I'm able to pass arguments, and those arguments become the new information, right? So that's passing data between components. We also made it interactive, right? We made it interactive where we were able to assign the function directly to the element instead of doing the other way of using query selector or document or get element by ID, right? Those ones are, they're old school, but yes, they are important for you to learn. Like for real, if you don't know vanilla JS well, um when you start doing Web3, right, when you start going deep to Web3, there are some things you just use JS, you need JS to do, right? Or it might be difficult, right? You might know React, like you can know React for real, you can know React and you don't really know JavaScript like that. It's possible, right? But by the time you start going deep into Web3 and you're writing smart contracts and you need to test your smart contracts using different tools like JS, for instance, you have to load JS in a deeper level in order for you to test your smart contracts well. So that's when you now need to know JS better. And I can assure you that if you know JS really well, it has to be a walkover for you. Like it will be a walkover, right? But yeah, it might be difficult at the start, but it will be a walkover for you. So we also established React hooks. So React hooks allows us to, like we said, it allows us to update the web page when a variable has changed inside the component, right? And we used the use state React hook. Now, the definition of React hook that I'm giving you here, right? It only relates to the use state React hook. The other React hooks that you can get in the React docs, I'm going to share the React docs here. It's also in this slide. So moving on, this is so create React app now. So we have basically done everything about React. So those are the basics, right? There's a resource here that's going to allow you to go deeper into React, but those are the basics. Now this is create React app. Now create React app helps you start using React in no time. It's a command line tool. That is a tool you use in your terminal that allows you to set up a template React project and start coding in a very short period of time. Like, so leaving that, you see all this here, right? Can you guys see all this? All this here. Can you see all this here? Hello? Am I still on the call?
Yes, you are. You can see.
Okay, you can see all this here, right? Now, everything here is the directory, and if you notice, I just dived into the code directly. I didn't like explain how if you had something like a blank, if you had something like a blank project, if you have something like a blank project, how you would start using it. So how you set up your React app. Basically, what you can do that using CROA, create React app. I didn't do that because it takes time. It takes, depending on your internet, it takes a certain number of time. It takes a certain number of minutes before you can set up create React app. So in order to set up create React app, you have to use what they call like they said before, it's a terminal it's a command line tool. So in order to do it, I'll just say I will have to install create React app first. I will install create React app using let me show you how to install create React app. So this is create React app. To install it, I'll just say npx. Sorry, I don't have to install it safe. I don't have to install it. I can just do npx create React app, my app. I'll copy this. That is, if you have a blank project and you want to start a React app, you can just write this. It's going to create all these things for you. But I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that again. So it's going to create all these things for you. You're going to create them. So at the end of the day, you will have this sort of setup. So you already have your app.js here. All you have to do is to remove. You can just remove everything here. I can remove everything here and have an empty. I can have an empty component. I'll have an empty app component, and I can start writing whatever I want in there. So from there, I will start creating my own components, and I'll create a full React app. So that's it basically for the create React app. So it's a tool you can use in starting your own React project. It gives you this template. So basically, this is a template. It gives you the template, and you can from there start building your app. right? So this link, let me share this link in the chat just in case anybody needs it. Okay, so that's the link to the Create Your Art app. That's the link to using Create Your Art app, getting started with Create Your Art app. So that's it about Create Your Art app. So Nextjs, we're not going to talk much about Nextjs, but so these are resources, and my battery is almost there. Let me see, 7. Wow. So I'm not going to go deep into Nextjs, but Nextjs is an extension of React basically. Nextjs uses React. It's not something so big. Nextjs uses React. That's just it. If you know React, you can use Nextjs. Like I didn't even learn Nextjs. I knew React. So when they said I needed to use Nextjs for a particular project, I just picked it up and started using it. I didn't need to learn much about it. So Nextjs is an extension of React that allows you to write backend code and mix out into different web pages on your web application easier, right? So Nextjs allows you to write backend code. In all honesty, I've used Nextjs and I've never used Nextjs to write backend code, but you can use it to write backend code. I've never used it though, but what it allows you to do is that it makes routing to different web pages on your web application easier. Now let me show you this fast. So in React, right, unlike your normal HTML where you can click a button, and if you click that button you take it to a different web page, like this one now. This is /index.html, right? This is /index.html. I can link a button to a href tag. I can add a link to a href tag and it take me to a different place entirely. But in React, it does not work as simple as that. I can write give you share and it will take me to the same web page. Sure, you get what I'm saying? It's a different address, so but it's taking me to the same web page. I can write whatever I want. It takes me to the same web page. With React, right, you have to use a different library, something called a library, the React Router library, in order for you to be able to route across your different web pages, in order for you to be able to go from home to about us to let's say to market, to different places, right? You have to use a library. But with Nextjs, I told you Nextjs uses that. But with Nextjs, you now have the ability to do it such that with Nextjs, you don't have to use a different library. When you want to route to a different page, to help you route automatically. So I have a sample Nextjs app here. So this is my Nextjs app. Let me run it. I'll run the Nextjs app and I'll show you how it works. So I think it has taken over this one. Let me see. Yeah, so this is the Nextjs template basically. This is the Nextjs template. So with Nextjs, I told you. So with Nextjs, I can create different routes. Basically, I can come here and say, let's say about us.js. Then I'll also say market contact. Let's say contact us.js. So with Nextjs, I can do that. I can come here. I'll just like copy everything here. Let me see. I'll copy everything here. Paste. Let me change something here so that it will show that. What can I change? Let me change something. Let me use a H1 here. Let's change this to H1. So this is which page? Contact us. So let me do the same thing here. Contact us. I'll change this to about us. Alright. So now if I come here, I can go to contact us. It's taking time. I don't know why it's taking time. It's not supposed to take time as well. Okay. Oh, my battery is almost dead. So this is contact us, and this is about us. This is about us, right? So that's it. Nextjs allows us to do all this. If I was to go to a web page that does not exist, this is what Nextjs will show me. Just watch. 404, this page cannot be found. So Nextjs gives me this capability already, but it's still React. It's an extension of React that gives me the ability to be able to route across different web pages. Sorry, I'll not be able to go into deep into web Nextjs, but moving on, I have these are the resources you can use to get started with React. So Screenbar is really good. I would advise that you start using Screenbar in order for you to start to learn React. Like, this resource is free. It's a free resource, so I don't see any reason why you won't get started right now. Let me just paste the link in the chat, so in case anyone is interested, you can start using Screenbar to learn React. Right, so that's the link to Screenbar. You learn React in um it's quite long, but yeah, you will learn a lot. Right, you will learn a lot. You should really take your time. It's going to take you from zero to hero in React. Right, it's going to take you from zero to hero. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. I think we're already at the end.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
I really appreciate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
It's
thanks
very
for coming.
straightforward.
Yeah, sure. It's not that's the aim. That was the aim. Normally, it's when you hear React, it's like one difficult thing. To be honest, when you start, it's going to look difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly right. When it starts, it's going to look difficult, but as far as you can persevere, right? As far as you can persevere, it's at the end of the day, you'll be like, what was I even disturbing myself over safe? It's like when you started. It's like when you start learning JavaScript or start learning HTML. You see this big web page that somebody will create. In the next 2 weeks, you see that you're already creating that web page. You'll be like, why was I disturbing myself in the first place, right? So I've tried to make React simple for you, and you should know that it's easy, right? It's easy, to be honest. The way I feel right now, I feel React is easy. I don't know what any other person will say, but yeah, when you hear it, that it looks difficult, but yeah, I feel it's easy. Just get started with Screenbar. Screenbar will help you a lot, and we're always in the chats, right? We're always in the community to answer your questions, right? So just come in, ask your questions, and we'll answer them for you. So thanks for coming, guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming. So I guess we'll see you in the chat, right? We'll see you in the chat. So just get started using Screenbar. Thanks guys. Yeah. So we'll see you in the chat. Bye.